Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome to day 19 of consistently doing the love routine that I talked to you guys on day one about. I wanted to talk about today's topic, which you see in the title of this video, which is why do I feel like giving up? Okay, let's talk about why this is happening. Okay, if you feel like giving up, why exactly are you having that sensation? Okay, so I'm excited for this one, and hello to everyone who is entering the chat. I want to get straight into this topic because I think it's really important. One of the first things that pops into my mind, because let's start here. We want to manifest something, and we're doing all the right techniques. We're getting into the state of the wish fulfilled. We're affirming, maybe thinking about it too much, maybe overthinking. And we're getting into this cycle that feels very monotonous. It feels very almost draining, which we know to be the opposite of how manifestations actually come about. Anytime that you have manifested something in your life, the good things. Now we're talking about the things that we prefer and that we are deliberately creating. It usually happens in a way that is effortless and in a way that doesn't feel draining. Okay. So I wanted to talk about why it feels like you want to give up and where that is stemming from. And then I also want to talk about different ways to mitigate this. And then hopefully that can help you get back into your routine. Okay. So, the first thing that popped into my mind when I was thinking about this topic, because I received an email. That's how it all stemmed. I received an email, which, by the way, I will be responding to the emails. Give me like 24 hours to the people that I haven't responded to. I love you guys so much. Thank you. Um, I was reading an email and he was talking about affirming and beating themselves up, feeling like they are doing so much and it's getting them the opposite result. Okay. So this is the first thing that I thought of, which was Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And one of the first stories that he tells is about a man who is trying to find oil. And so he's digging, and he gives up. He gives up on seeking the oil after a certain amount of time. He feels like the spot that he was digging in wasn't good enough. And so he kind of just left the project. And when he left the project, somebody else took over that project. And within a couple of feet further down in the ground, they found what they were looking for. They found the oil, and yeah, that person became a millionaire, right? So, and during this time, this was like the early 1900s. So, this was a very valuable lesson to the person who started the project and then gave it up, because what they saw from that is that their intuition was correct. Okay. Their intuition was correct. And when you trust the process and you really truly believe that everything is working out for you, even if it doesn't seem like it, then you can relax and you can continue to follow that intuition and you're able to take action. Okay. We still want to take action. So we're able to take action and we're able to manifest that thing that we want. So this was a very valuable lesson for the guy who was digging, because after he realized how much of an opportunity he missed out on, right? There's no mistakes in life. But once he realized that, hey, I was right, and this person they profited off of something that I initially started and that I believed in, but didn't believe in enough. Whatever project I go forth in, I'm not going to give up this time. I'm just going to see it all the way through. I'm not going to have a plan B for this. I'm just going to stick with plan A. And I'm going to stick with plan A, and I'm going to use my faith. Okay, I'm going to use my faith. You cannot please God without faith. Okay, if everyone were to just give up when things are not seeming the way that they seem, then we wouldn't have things accomplished in society today. Okay, all of the buildings that we see, all of the products that we lay our heads down on and the tools that we use on a day-to-day basis. I'm talking about the microwave to the stove to the kitchen, the granite that we're using. I mean, people are manifesting these things. This is like it's not this stuff is not woo-woo. This is very real, okay? Real in the best term or sense of the term, but you guys get it, okay? We are living in a simulation and you're able to alter your reality. But when you give yourself that grace and when you allow yourself to stop beating yourself up, that's when you can start to accelerate the momentum, okay? And accelerate the momentum on what you want to manifest and taking direction, taking focus on what you do want. Now, I'm looking right here, and this is where my vision board is. And one of the statements that I love to repeat is from Second Chronicles 15:7. And this isn't the full thing, so I'm just using the part that really sticks with me. Be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. Be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. Okay, all of this stuff is not going in vain. Even if you think that it's, you're doing it uselessly or it's just not going the way that you plan, everything is always working out for you. So, going back to the email, this person really feels like they want to give up and that they don't want to even affirm for things anymore, which I can relate to. And I know that a lot of people can relate to it. And that's why I'm talking about it. Because there comes a point where you're just like, when do I stop? When do I stop affirming for that thing? Okay, this is what happens. This is what you do. When you get to that point where you say, I am done affirming for that thing, that is the best spot to be in. I know this by experience, okay? This is why I'm not the biggest advocate of just like repeating something in your brain until you are sick and tired of it. Okay? There is a season for everything. There is a time for happiness, sadness, anger, all of these emotions that we have been given on this planet, right? So, it's about becoming in control of those commotions, of those emotions. So, if we are saying, all right, I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling anger, I'm feeling sadness. Okay, cool. If you're feeling those emotions, how are you going to use it to benefit you? That's the question. How are you going to use it to turn your situation into what you prefer? Because even when I was manifesting my car, when I was manifesting the job opportunities, when I manifest the things that I want, I go in to it knowing that it's going to happen, that it is done. But just like how a movie plays out, there's going to be a progression. There's going to be a moment where there's stillness, and the stillness is not bad. When I went on my weight loss journey and I lost all the weight that I did and kept it off and did not have any type of quibbles, is what Abdullah would call it. But quibbles is basically like you have chosen this path and you're going down this path. You're not looking back. Okay. I decided this is the weight that I'm going to be. I don't care what happens. This is not up for debate. I am going to receive my dream body. When I determined that, of course, there were experiences that would make me think otherwise, that would make me think that, oh, maybe it's not going to happen. But if you stay focused on, no, everything is working out for me. And even if I don't see movement right now, that doesn't mean that there isn't movement. Just because you don't see, just because I don't see people in the house next to me doesn't mean that the house next to me or the people that are in it don't exist, right? Right now, I'm looking at this camera. Right now, I'm in this very limited space where I can see things and I can view things, but I know many other things are going on right now. And this is very important to recognize. Just because you may not see it happening does not mean that nothing is happening. The only constant is change. That is law, okay? The only constant is change. So, why does it feel like you want to give up? It's because you don't have the faith that everything is working out for you, or you don't understand the foundation. So, these are the 3 steps that I have for you. If you ever feel like, okay, why does it feel like I want to give up? Why does it feel like it's not working out for me? Therefore, I should switch to something else. Okay, here are my 3 things. I'm going to grab my phone. The first thing, which I kind of mentioned, I just touched on it, but come back to your foundation. So let's say that you're like wanting to manifest the money, you're wanting to manifest the relationship, the health, whatever it is. Okay, there's going to need to be a very general foundation, a very strong foundation. And for a lot of people, that looks like religion. Okay. There's a lot of people that have grown up. I know me myself, I grew up in a Christian background, and that's why Neville Goddard, his information resonates with me so much. And that's why whenever I read his books, I can manifest instantly, not thinking about the manifestation itself. I just read his books and then things flock to me because you need to have a strong foundation. And so, whatever that foundation is for you, read the information, listen to the podcast, listen to somebody. Okay, it could even be this channel, right? You want to listen to someone that understands your worth and your value. If you know that you are the creator of your own reality, if you know that you have God living in you, that you have source living in you, then there's really no debate. Okay, there is no debate. When you ask, it is given. Done. I asked, it is given to me. In the moment that I ask for it, it's done. So now it's getting yourself to a place where you're relaxing in that. And if you're so focused on the circumstances, then it will put up these blinders as to how powerful you are without that circumstance. This is big. If you are always wanting to seek something else, if you're wanting to seek that thing, which is fine, we want things to materialize. This isn't a discussion about dissuading you out of your manifestation. But if you're wanting something and you really, really want it, okay, and you feel like if you don't have it, then you're not whole, that's where we need to tailor it back because you are whole and complete. Therefore, you manifest the things that are in alignment with you being whole and complete. You are whole and complete. You are enough as you are, as you are. And if you find satisfaction in the now, then you multiply and produce more satisfaction in the future, which, by the way, the future will always just become the now. So it's only now. There's never really a future. There's never really a past. It's only now. Okay. That's my first tip. Always come back to your foundation. So for me personally, that would look like reading the Bible. That would look like listening to a lecture from Neville Goddard. That would look like reading books from Neville Goddard. And I know that a lot of people, well, maybe not for this channel. I'm not sure what you guys subscribe to, but if you guys have been following me for a while, then you most likely resonate with the teachings of Neville Goddard. So if you like scripture, I would read scripture because it is very therapeutic and it is very grounding. It'll bring you back to your foundation. The second thing is to distract yourself completely. Okay, completely. Like find something. Let's say that the topic is I really want this person to text me back. Okay, whatever the situation is. You're really wanting them to text you back. You need an answer. You need them to respond. Okay, have you ever noticed that when you really want somebody to respond back to you, they do not respond back? It's only when you're like, okay, whatever. And then you go off, you do something else, and then you look at your phone and you're like, they wrote me back. Okay, this is a very simple example, but it is very accurate as to how the law of assumption, the law of attraction works. If you are very focused on if your awareness, your focus is on how it's not coming about, then it will not come about because you are the one and only consciousness. You are awareness. So if you distract yourself, okay, then all you're doing is just not thinking about how you don't have something. And just by simply not thinking about what you don't have, that will bring it into your experience. So if again, going back to the text message, if you're wanting somebody to text you and you're waiting for them, you're waiting by the phone, all this stuff, and then maybe you have this moment, this aha moment, which you can use this affirmation if you like. You think to yourself, I can't miss anything. I can't make a mistake. Everything happens in divine timing. I'm I'm always doing things in divine timing. Okay. So then you walk away from the phone because you can't miss the phone call, you can't miss the text message, everything happens in divine timing. You leave it up for God to handle, and then you go do something else. You go watch a movie. So I have a list here. I have you go watch a movie, you watch a show, you read a fiction book or a nonfiction book, whatever you want. You hang out with loved ones, you have a phone call with somebody else. Do anything else. Play the piano, do something else to have that awareness on what you are doing, that presentness. Okay. That's what we're going for. We're going for this awareness. When you distract yourself, that'll also bring the manifestation to you. Okay. And then the third thing is, okay, so this may seem contrary, but I want you to stick with me because in my experience, this has helped me a lot to manifest things. Okay. This is what helps you manifest things when you really feel like giving up and you're just like, I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. Right. Okay. So doing it anyway, doing it anyway with the focus on accomplishment. So let's say, let's go back to school. Let's go back to when we were in middle school or high school. We would go to school every day. Not every day did we want to go to school. And so there would be moments where we still had to do it anyway. You would go, and instead of focusing on, okay, I don't want to be here. This is terrible. I just really cannot be here in this space anymore. We're going to have a more relaxed approach and we're going to do it anyway with the intention of just being there. I'm here and that is enough. Okay. And what this does for you, focusing in on the accomplishment of being here in the space and just showing up, that is enough. First off, that is enough. But then doing something because that's what you have to give in that moment, that relaxes you. That helps get rid of any of the feelings of needing to do more, right? I need to affirm more. I need to push more, okay? And now I know that in especially in the US society there's like a lot of pressure to do more, right? Like if you do more then you'll receive more. But looking at it in this approach of, okay, I'm going to give my best. And if I'm doing my best, that is all I can do in the moment that I'm in right now. So that's a good question to ask yourself. And that is the third part. So, again, doing it anyway and focusing in on the accomplishment itself of you doing it. Okay. You did it. Be proud of yourself and get better and better. Okay. I'm going to get better at this. This is not the end. I have more opportunities to do this. Are you doing your best? That's the question that you want to ask yourself, and ask yourself realistically in that moment. Is there a better thinking thought that I can have? If the answer is no, then let it be that. Okay? Let it be that and then focus in on you just being there. Okay? And letting that be enough. Why it feels like you want to give up is because of that foundational belief, that core essence of thinking that something is outside of you, thinking that it needs to get there in order for me to feel satisfied, but it really is the opposite. And that's how we get into deliberate creation. It's only going to happen when you're feeling good. So, self concept work, getting back to your roots about who you are, whose you are. Some people like to say whose you are. You are God's child. If God source is running through you, then that means that you have access to that all the time. So sometimes just being like, I cast this burden on the Christ that lives within, and I go free to experience energy, to experience love, to experience excitement or fun or something that is pleasing to me, that will bring more of those things to you. You don't You don't get to your manifestation by putting a lot of weight and pressure on yourself. The path to enlightenment is to lighten up, always. So, if you feel like there is a burden, if you feel like there are weights on your shoulder and that you need to be doing more, it's actually the opposite. You have to cast those burdens. So, I don't know if you want to like make a dance of it or whatever, but like cast the burdens and say, "Okay, I am enough. I'm here. I received that imaginal act or that idea because it's something that is capable of being received in my experience. I'm going to cast this burden on the Christ that lives within, and I'm going to do the best that I can with what I can control and leave the rest to source, to infinite intelligence. Do your best, leave the rest." So that's all that I have to say in this video. Again, I will be emailing the people that emailed me. I will be emailing you guys soon. Give me like 24 hours because, yeah, it's been a crazy past couple of days. But I will also accept any questions if you guys have any. And then, yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for listening and for watching. I hope you're having a blessed, what day is it? Monday. Hope you're having a blessed Monday. Hi, Ray. Hey, girl. I've been watching your love challenge videos and noticed how much you've changed, shifted energetically so far. Yeah, thank you. It's interesting because again, we all are going through seasons. Like we are shifting and going through highs and lows and then just going throughout our life, right? It's not the same. Like even though that we think it's the same, it's not. Everything is changing at all points. So even when I'm working on my energy field and like putting myself first, I'm reading the Bible, I'm um, making my intentions, I'm praying, which is giving thanks, having that gratitude, like it shifts you. You can shift right now. You can shift at any moment. I've been having conflicting feelings about my desire for my SP. It's around the time we met last year and it's bringing up nostalgia and old feelings. What are your thoughts? Well, what do you desire? Do you do you desire to be in contact with the SP or is that what the conflicting feelings are about? Yes, the gratitude, it truly changes everything for the better. Yeah, and see, sometimes we can be in such a space to where we don't even want to practice gratitude, um, and that's okay too. Like, there's other ways than just saying them in your head. I've talked about this before, but vacuuming your carpet or cleaning up your house is an act of gratitude. Um, Complimenting someone is an act of gratitude. There are so many I'm feeling overwhelmed with all the different, like, actions that I'm getting in my head, but there's other ways than just writing down what you're grateful for. Me, checking in on Willow, brushing her hair, that's an act of gratitude, like, I'm showing my love for her. Me writing someone a heartfelt note. I love writing notes. That's, like I love it, especially during, like, birthdays and during this time, during the holidays. I love writing notes that are very personalized to the person I'm writing it to. So that's an act of gratitude as well. Cooking for someone, cooking for yourself, that's an act of gratitude. There are so many ways to be grateful for what you have. Folding your clothes nicely, brushing your teeth, and flossing. Like the list goes on and on. So if we were to just focus in on that and start that momentum, you would be surprised. Like you would be very surprised looking at photos and thinking kind thoughts about them or having an inner conversation like I really want this person to do well or I really want them to I don't know, just like have an epiphany or like have a really cool glow up that they feel very proud of. When you wish people well, that's an act of gratitude. I love writing mushy cards to people. Yeah, it's so nice. Batty, if you're still on here though, I wanted to talk about this. Okay. I desire to be with my SP, but I feel overwhelmed by past events. I feel like need to be addressed, but I don't want to force that we're on good terms now, but I want more. Okay. So I actually experienced this. Um, when was it? I experienced this. So the best thing that I have, or the best advice that I have for this that brings clarity on the situation and helps you manifest what you're desiring is to create the boundaries that you want to implement for your relationship. So each person has their own ideal relationship. And it's up to you to normalize what you want in yours. Because again, and you can think about this in your life, everyone has a different role, and everybody, even when you look at other relationships, their relationships function differently. So you create your own reality. You can decide, okay, this is how we operate with finances. This is how we operate with date nights. This is how we operate with communication. You can be as specific as you like to be, and you create the terms. Okay. The men that I get involved with are very chivalrous. The men that I allow to court me are X, Y, and Z. When you create the standards for yourself, here's the important part. When you create the standards for yourself, you stick to them. You stick to the boundaries. So if somebody is, let's say, for example, and this happened to me recently, let's say somebody pops back into your life, but it's like kind of lukewarm. Okay. They're not giving hot. Then that's actually an opportunity for you to stick to the boundary. Okay. Stick to the boundary. It's actually the manifestation comes way quicker when you have boundaries in place. Um, People like boundaries. I mean, it's kind of like sad, or it's not, maybe not sad, but like, have you ever met someone and they just don't have boundaries, and like, that you can just push them over? It's just not even like, you're just like, "Ugh, I just, it's like not even fun. Like, you can't even, it's like, like, you don't want to co collaborate with them because they don't have their own ground to stand on. So you want to have your own ground to stand on. You want to have your own foundation. And then let's say you're getting overwhelmed by past events, right? There's something that's popping up. Start with your foundation. What type of relationship do you have? Because this is why I'm like stressing it right now, this foundation, is because if there's like thoughts from the past that come up, you can easily negate those thoughts with the affirmations or the storyline that you've built if it's strong enough. So, for example, when I had created a new dynamic with one of the past people I had been deliberately manifesting in my life, he was very like inconsistent. He was very inconsistent. And so I was like, okay, you don't even want that version of them. So like, you don't want them to come back. Like, leave me alone. Okay. I was like, literally leave me alone. And then I created what my boundaries are. And if they don't fit in it, then like, sorry, I have nothing. There's not really, like, we can't talk because we're resonating at different levels. So I created my boundary and I was like, okay, well, the men that are in my life, they treat me like this. I'm treated like royalty. I'm treated like a certain way. So you get to, as the one and only consciousness, you get to decide what a relationship looks like for you. And then let's say they do pop in, which is exactly what happened. My ex had popped back in, but he was completely different. 180. 180, because my standards changed. And even if he didn't show up, it would have been fine because I still would have met somebody. I would have met my match, right? I would have met the person that I was wanting to attract because I was being in the vibration of it. But he did happen to come back, and he reflected that exactly. And he was very consistent and very in the reality that I was portraying. Like you become the main character, and then any of the events, any of like the past frustration, all of the unforgiveness or resentment and stuff, I didn't have anymore because I was staying in the new story. When you stay in the new story, then you change your past. So this is what revision looks like. When Neville Goddard is talking about this, he says one example that he uses is, okay, when you're in bed right before you fall asleep, you can go over your day and think of it as you'd like it to be. And when you do that, you are changing your level of consciousness so that even when you think about the past, it's different. It's going to feel different. It's going to look different. Okay. When I was 15, I thought about my past as a child very differently than how I am in my 20s. I I look back on my past, it's a different story that I can tell you. Okay. That's because we're changing the past when you change your state of being in the now. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, that's okay. Focus in on the relationship that you want to have specifically. How do you want to be in it, and how do you want the person to show up? What role do you want them to play? And then stick to that. Everybody else will conform. Those are really only the two things that you have to worry about. What do I feel about myself, and what do I feel about myself in relationship to that thing? And that will get rid of the resentment and the overwhelming feelings of past events. I was able to forgive him very easily too. Like when we came back into contact and communication, he had like profusely apologized, and I didn't even need the apologies because I was so okay. I was like perfectly fine now. It was nice. It was nice to hear all of the affirmations that I'd said in my head and like the things that I had worked on, but it wasn't like I needed it in order to feel good. I trust that that makes sense. Focus on yourself, and I promise it'll work out. It'll all pan out. But yeah, if you guys don't have any other questions, I will end on this note. I hope that you guys are having a great day and Thanksgiving. Okay, so this shirt, it took me a while to read it. Hold on, I don't know if you guys can see it. If you cannot read it, because I couldn't for the first 5 minutes, it says, gobble till you wobble. Gobble till you wobble. It's my mom's. All right. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here with me. Um, yeah, I love the shirt. Right? It's so cute. I'll answer this one question and then I'll end the chat. How do we get over the time urgency and waiting for movement when we don't see any? That's when I would, well, depending on the situation, I would recommend two things. I would recommend distracting yourself, being in the present moment, and creating a routine that is in alignment with the version of yourself that has it. And or you can tackle it, you can wrestle it to the ground with the whole like repetitive affirmations. Like if you aren't seeing anything and then you tell yourself everything is working out for you and you just keep repeating that over and over and over again, and you put yourself in a state of feeling relaxed, use the excuse me, use the affirmations that aid you. Okay, there's affirmations that are an asset or a liability in the state of consciousness that you are presently in. So, if you're feeling really bad about yourself and you don't feel like you can accomplish something and you want to manifest $10,000, but that's just feels very out of reach, then you affirming that over and over again is a liability. It's not an asset. But let's say that you are feeling better with the idea that sources running through you all the time and that you can't mess anything up, that you don't make any mistakes, that you're always on your path, you will always be on your path, and everything is working out fine. If you start to repeat an affirmation like that, that becomes an asset because of how it's making you feel. It's always going to be the state of consciousness, the state of being that you are in. Okay. So if it allows you to expand, then say that. But yeah, 2 ways. You can distract or you can tackle it to the ground with a new train of thought. All right, that's all I got for today. I love you guys so much. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye.